All right, let's dive into something really cool today. It's all about those tiny changes that can, well, completely transform your life, Atomic Habits, based on James Clear's book.
Have you read it?
Oh, yeah, cover to cover.
It's a good one.
So imagine those big goals you always hear about, like the huge ones you're striving for. What if you could reach those just by making, like, small 1% improvements?
Every single day.
Yeah, every single day.
It's a pretty powerful concept when you think about it.
It is because we always think about those, those massive overnight transformations.
Right, like those lose 30 pounds in 30 days.
Exactly.
But the real magic, it's in those little, you
The
know,
small things.
yeah, those consistent steps.
It's like the British cycling team.
Oh, yeah, great example.
They were
What?
they were like the laughing stock of the cycling world for like almost a century, weren't they?
Pretty much, yeah.
The-
Then comes their new performance director.
Dave Brailsford.
Right, and he's got this, like, radical idea, the aggregation of marginal gains.
So he basically said, let's find these tiny ways to get better, but in every single aspect.
Of their training, their performance, everything.
And it wasn't just like tweaking their bikes or training harder.
No. They went deep.
They went deep.
Like, even looking at the writer's sleep quality,
Wow.
their hygiene, They even figured out, like, the best way for the team to wash their hands so they wouldn't get colds.
So they wouldn't get sick and miss training.
Exactly. Every little thing mattered.
It's amazing, like, how far they were willing to go.
Well, they wanted to win.
They did.
And you know what?
Right.
It worked. Like, within
Yeah.
a few years, they were just, like, dominating the
The
Olympics.
Tour de France, everything.
Yeah, complete turnaround.
From laughing stock to, like, top of the world.
Because all those tiny changes, those 1% improvements, they added up,
And compounded.
Right, and that's the essence of it, compounding.
Not just making big changes, it's about consistently making small improvements.
That build upon each other.
Over time. So even though you might not see those results right away, the impact of your efforts,
Can be massive in the long run.
huge.
Like, just imagine getting 1% better every day
For a year,
for a whole year.
you would be
You wouldn't believe the progress.
so much better
Way better.
than when you started.
And the reverse is true too,
Oh, yeah.
If you get 1% worse each day,
You end up with,
almost nothing.
wow,
It's like the difference between, investing your money.
and just stuffing it in a sock drawer.
Yeah, one grows exponentially.
The other one just sits there.
And this is where, a lot of people get discouraged with building good habits.
Why is that?
Well, they expect to see, linear progress.
Like a straight line up.
Exactly, but it doesn't always work that way.
Because sometimes it feels like you're putting in the work, but nothing's really changing.
Right, have you ever felt that?
Oh, totally.
That's what Clear calls the valley of
Isn't
disappointment.
that what it is?
Yeah.
It's that feeling of getting nowhere,
You're doing the work, but the results are still hidden.
and you feel tempted to give up.
Right, because you think it's not working.
It's not worth it.
But it is, you just got to push past it.
So how do we push past that?
Well, think of it like melting an ice cube. You heat it from 25 degrees to 31 degrees. It
Yeah.
seems like nothing's happening, right?
Yeah.
But then, boom, at 32 degrees,
It melts.
it melts.
All that effort, it was building up.
to that critical point.
We just couldn't see yet.
Right. So if you feel like you're stuck in that valley,
The breakthrough might be just around the corner.
exactly, you just got to keep going.
I don't give up.
That's what Clear calls hitting the plateau of latent potential.
So that's like,
It's where all those small changes, they suddenly come together and you experience a major breakthrough.
it all clicks.
Yeah.
This makes me think about how much we focus on the goal itself.
Right.
Like losing weight or getting a promotion.
Yeah.
But maybe what really matters is the process.
The system you put in place to get there.
Exactly.
That's a really good point.
And I think there's a,
A book
yeah,
by Scott Adams,
that talks about this.
Systems versus Goals.
Yeah, he says that if you only focused on your system,
And ignored your goal entirely.
you would probably still succeed.
Most likely, yeah.
Wow, that's kind of a bold statement.
It is, but think about it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that.
Okay, so let's say you're a basketball coach and you only focus on how your team performs in practice, completely ignoring the championship as the end goal,
So you're saying just focus on the system
The quality of their practice, the drills, the teamwork.
and don't obsess over winning the championship.
Exactly.
They would still win more games.
Absolutely. It's about shifting your mindset from fixating on the destination to focusing on the journey.
I like that, focusing on the journey.
It's because it's the system, those consistent actions you take. That separates those who succeed from those who don't.
Like with the British cycling team. Their ultimate goal was to win, of course.
Here,
But what really got them there was that system,
searching for those tiny improvements.
day after day.
Exactly, and you can apply that to anything.
Like what?
Let's say your goal is to write a book.
Okay.
You might get overwhelmed just thinking about the finished product.
Yeah, it can be daunting.
And you might never even start.
That's true.
But what if, instead of focusing on the whole book,
You just focused on one page.
one page every day?
That seems much more manageable.
Or maybe you set aside a specific time for writing each morning.
So you're building a system.
By focusing on the system, those small, manageable actions,
Mm.
you're much more likely to make progress and eventually finish that book.
So we're basically talking about atomic habits,
Oh,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Those tiny changes that are part of a larger system.
Like atoms are the building blocks of molecules
So it's those small, consistent actions.
that, over time, create those remarkable results.
Okay, I'm starting to get this. But how do we actually build a system for these atomic habits?
Where do we begin?
Yeah, where do we begin?
Well, Clear outlines 4 key laws of behavior change that can help you make any habit stick.
Okay, what are they?
Making it obvious, making it attractive, making it easy, and making it satisfying.
Those sound pretty straightforward. But how do we actually put them into practice?
Let's start with making the habit obvious. One way to do this is to use something Clear calls implementation intentions.
Implementation intentions.
Basically, you create a specific plan for when and where you'll perform the habit.
So instead of just saying, I'll meditate more,
You'd say, I'll meditate for 5 minutes every morning right after I wake up.
you're removing any ambiguity.
Exactly. Make it clear and specific.
Okay, I got it. What about making it attractive?
Well, you can try pairing it with something you already enjoy.
So if I wanted to start listening to podcasts while I exercise,
You'd choose a podcast that you're really excited about.
one that I can't wait to
Really?
listen to. Okay, that makes sense.
And speaking of workouts,
Let's talk about making the habit easy.
this is all about reducing any friction or obstacles that might prevent you from doing the habit.
Like laying out my workout clothes the night before,
Perfect example.
or packing my gym bag.
Or if you want to start eating healthier, make sure you have plenty of fruits and vegetables readily available in your kitchen.
So preparing your environment in advance
Makes it much easier to make healthy choices.
makes sense.
And finally, to make the habit satisfying, you want to reward yourself.
After you do it.
Right.
It doesn't have to be anything big, right?
No, not at all. It could be as simple as checking the habit off your list, giving yourself a high five, or just enjoying that feeling of accomplishment.
So those little rewards.
They create a positive feedback loop in your brain, making you want to repeat the habit again and again.
So by making the habit obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, we're basically hacking our brains to make those good habits stick.
Exactly.
And the more we repeat those habits,
The more they become ingrained in our daily routines, eventually they become almost automatic
so it's like we're rewiring our brains.
and make those good habits the default setting.
And that's when the real power of compounding kicks in.
Those small changes, repeated over time, can lead to incredible results.
Not about willpower or motivation.
It's about creating a system.
That makes success inevitable. That's so empowering.
It is.
It means that we all have the ability to make significant changes in our lives.
Starting with those small atomic habits.
But it's not just about building good habits, right?
Right.
It's also about breaking bad ones. So how do we tackle those pesky habits that we just can't seem to shake?
It's all about, like, flipping the script on those 4 laws we talked about.
Oh, you mean making it obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying?
Yeah, but in reverse.
So instead of making it obvious, we make it invisible.
Exactly.
Okay, I like where this is going,
So, like, if you're trying to cut back on social media,
which I definitely should be doing.
you could delete the apps from your phone
Oh, that's a good one.
or log out of your account.
Make it harder to access,
Or feel less accessible, yeah.
so you're less likely to get sucked in.
Exactly. Out of sight, out of mind.
I like it.
Yeah.
What about making it unattractive?
You gotta shift your focus, you know? Instead of dwelling on the immediate gratification a bad habit offers.
Like that dopamine hit you get from checking your phone every 5 seconds?
Exactly. You gotta highlight the negative consequences.
Ooh, that's a good one. So if I'm trying to quit smoking, I should remind myself of the health risks.
And the financial drain.
Yeah, all that money I could be saving.
You're changing the narrative in your head
From pleasure to pain.
from short-term pleasure to long-term consequences.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've made it invisible and unattractive. What's next?
Make it difficult.
Difficult how?
Increase the friction, make it harder to engage with the bad habit.
Give me an example.
Like if late night snacking is your downfall,
Oh, that's definitely one of mine.
put all those tempting snaps out of sight.
Hide the cookies?
Yeah, maybe even in a locked cupboard.
Whoa, serious measures.
It's about setting up roadblocks.
I get it. Make it harder to fall back into old patterns.
Exactly.
And finally, make it unsatisfying. Right.
You got it. Associate the bad habit with something unpleasant.
Like, if you bite your nails?
You could use that bitter-tasting nail polish.
Yeah, that stuff is nasty.
It works, though,
So you create a negative association.
and reduce the enjoyment you get from the habit.
This is awesome. I feel like I can finally break those bad habits.
It's about reclaiming your power, one small step at a time.
And it's never too late to start.
Exactly. No matter where you are in life, you can use these principles to build better habits.
And ditch the ones that are holding us back.
It's not about being perfect,
It's about progress.
Don't beat yourself up if you slip up or miss a day.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Just get back on track and keep moving forward.
One small step at a time.
Like that saying, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
And in this case, it's about taking those single steps consistently.
Day after day.
And those steps don't have to be giant leaps.
No, it's better to start small.
And gradually increase the intensity
You want those changes to be sustainable,
so they become part of your lifestyle.
not just a temporary thing
By focusing on those small, consistent actions, we create a system.
that supports our growth.
It almost becomes effortless.
It's like building momentum.
One small win at a time.
And that momentum can carry you further than you ever thought possible.
It's amazing how this framework shifts our perspective. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by huge goals,
We feel empowered by taking small, consistent actions.
it's a much more enjoyable approach
Instead of a chore, it becomes a journey of growth.
and discovery.
That's what makes it so exciting.
It's not just about reaching a destination
It's about the journey.
and becoming the best version of ourselves along the way.
Exactly. By embracing this mindset.
We open ourselves up to a world of possibilities.
Those tiny changes, those atomic habits, can truly transform our lives.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into atomic habits, I want to leave you with a challenge. What's one tiny habit you could start today that would make a 1% difference in an area you want to improve?
It could be as simple as drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning,
Or reading for 10 minutes before bed?
or taking a short walk during your lunch break.
Just one small step
Repeated consistently.
can have a profound impact over time.
So take a moment to think about this
Choose one tiny habit
and start cultivating it.
and then take action.
Even the smallest step can set you on the path to remarkable results.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep learning
Keep growing.
and keep striving to become the best version of yourself.
And remember, the power to change your life lies within those tiny atomic habits.